Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Guithele Ruiz-Nicolas, your host for the GRN show. There are many, many things we will be celebrating during the month of May. And for example, we have Haitian Heritage Month, we have Small Business Week coming up, we have Mother's Day, we have so many other things. And one of them in particular is the National Cancer Research Month. And our guest this evening pretty much fits all of the things that I have mentioned. She is such an inspiring person. I really am looking forward to our interview. Her name is Tamara Beliard. Tamara is the CFO as well as the Senior Vice President of Island TV Network. And she is also the executive producer of Caribbean Cookout, which is a show that she produces. I know Tamara over the years, but she is a tremendous community leader. And her role right now with the United Way, she is really creating an initiative, something that I felt we should have had many years ago. So Tamara, thank you for doing that. And welcome to the GRN show.
Thank you so much, Gitel. It's such a pleasure. I've been a fan of your show for a long time, so I'm happy to be with you.
Thank you so much. You know, you have such an impressive background. University of Miami, you are an expert in accounting. You could have been with the five top accounting company, but you've decided to become an entrepreneur. What inspired you, Tamara?
Yes. Well, thank you, Gitel. I was in one of the top four accounting firms. I started out my career at PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Oh, wow.
Yes, but then, I started to want to raise a family. And the truth is, at that time, it wasn't the climate where I was, anyways. The climate wasn't such uh, that I felt okay or that I felt encouraged to raise my family, leave work early, go pick up my kids, and come back, and so forth. And so I remember one night vividly calling my father and saying, it's midnight. I'm not home yet. I don't know if I want to continue this. And he said to me, well, why don't you come work for the family? And so I was like, no, I don't know that I want to work for the family. And so he said, well, if you come, we'll provide flexibility and you'll be able to be a mom, full-time mom, and also work. And so that's what I needed to hear. That's what I needed to hear at that time. And here we are, 15 years later. So I made that jump 15 years later, started to work with the family business, Fatima Group, and it's been the best decision ever.
That's wonderful. I have to tell you that as a young professional, I can relate to what you're saying. It's like we're married to our job. We have to prove ourselves to kind of make it up the ladder. And it's a lot of sacrifices. I'm encouraged to see women nowadays, they can do both, but they can certainly keep the family as a priority, which is the way it should be. I think for me, I've worked some days like 18 hours and we're trying to be that superhero, that super moms, and it takes a lot out of you.
It does, and it's hard to have balance for every aspect. I mean, I think we tend to talk about being a mother and being in the workforce, but there's also, being a friend, being a daughter,
That's
being a mentor, being a mentee, and then just making sure we take care of ourselves. So there's a lot of hats that we wear as women. We typically think about the mom, but there's so many hats that we wear. So finding that balance I think is a lifelong journey, to be honest. I haven't really met anyone that said, "Oh yeah, I have perfect balance and I'm a great mom and a great worker and a great everything all at once." I'm not sure that that's possible. And if it is, somebody please call me and let me know because I'm still searching.
at the end of the day, it's all about doing the best we can and also knowing what's your priority, which you seem to know. You value your time with the family, which is why again, being an executive in an accounting firm was not the priority. So I applaud you for that. We're going to talk about something that's a little sensitive. And, many years ago, you mentioned you were a cancer survivor. Would you like to share with us how did you find out and how did that influence the way you work um, while you're going through this?
Yeah, sure. Well, first, I would like to tell you and your viewers that to this year, 2024, I celebrate my 10th year of being cancer free. So it's
Awesome.
a big year for me, and I feel so blessed, and I am filled with gratitude every single day. So as mentioned 10 years ago, I was healthy. I still feel like I live a healthy lifestyle, but even more so then was exercising all the time, eating healthy, no family history of cancer. And during the summer, I felt a lump over my chest. I had a little lump. And at first, I wasn't too concerned. I thought maybe it was a bug bite. It was small, so I figured it was a bug bite. And a few months later, it was still there. So I remember mentioning it to my mom, and my mom is a pharmacist, so she's in the medical field. So she said, you know what, you should really um, get that checked out. And I was like, no, I was living that busy life, being a mom and wearing all the hats. So I was like, no, I don't think I don't need to do that. And she kept insisting. Finally, I went to my OBGYN and asked for a mammogram. And he said that no, he didn't think that was necessary. And furthermore, that the insurance company would probably not pay for it because I was 35, which was the threshold or the
Mhm.
guideline is here in the US is 40 years and over is when they recommend a mammogram. So he said, they're not going to pay for it and it's really probably nothing. I insisted. I always joke that I insisted largely to get my mom off my back because she was insisting. So I always joke that part of it was to just make sure that my mom felt comfortable and to kind of appease her fears. So I did go for a mammogram and they called back to say that I needed to come back for a 3D and then they called again a few days later to come back for an ultrasound and then a few days later to come back for uh losing forgetting the word a biopsy. There you go.
Right.
So a few days later they called for a biopsy and then by that time you kind of start realizing that something's up, right? And then inevitably, I received that phone call that indeed I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And Guithele was, the toughest day. My daughters were very young. I had a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old. So, and I was full force mommy, picking up every day, involved at schools, volunteering. So I was very active in their lives. And, I felt such a cloud of fear because I automatically thought I would no longer be able to be a mom and maybe not even be around, period, right? So that was the beginning of my cancer journey.
Wow. I am so glad that you were able to listen to your mother because it could have evolved into something else. And, a lot of people with cancer, especially nowadays, with technology, if you catch it on time, you can lead a pretty normal life, which is really what I've seen you do over the
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so I do a lot of advocacy work now as it relates to breast cancer awareness. And that's definitely the message. The message is early detection saves lives. The message is be your own advocate, know your
Mhm.
body, you know. If you feel that you need a mammogram and your doctor says no, you pay for it, you know. I mean, as women, we pay for all types of stuff all the time that we don't need. So why not pay, to save your life? During the month of October, there's a lot of places that offer free mammograms. So I
Mhm.
do encourage women that feel that they need one or feel a lump or just want to have a peace of mind because maybe they have family history. I highly recommend using the month of October because there's so much access to
Mammograms.
mammograms and to screening opportunities to take the advantage of the month of October for that.
Yes, yes. And you know, those days, 24 2014. You mean to tell me the insurance would not pay for it?
Well,
That
they
was,
yeah, they weren't going to pay for it because I wasn't 40. Remember, the guideline here in the United States is mammograms should you should start getting mammograms at the age of 40 unless you have a reason to get it earlier, like a family history or previous
mhm.
cancer. So I didn't have a previous cancer and I didn't have family history. So the insurance was not going to cover anything and certainly not cover the mammogram.
Oh, that is scary. You know, I didn't realize that, Tamara, because
Yeah.
I'm thinking of people who may not have the means
Yeah. Well,
for.
that's why I say, well, first of all, if you don't have insurance, there are a lot of places that are going to give you a mammogram for a reasonable
Mhm.
price. That's the crazy thing about healthcare in the United States. If you have insurance, they they give you a hard time. If you don't have insurance, they don't give you a hard time, but you don't have access to everything you need to have access to. But if you don't have insurance, it's probably a lot easier to get a mammogram because they will give it to you at a special rate because you don't have insurance, right? So
Right,
as me, I had insurance, but I didn't fit the guideline. I think
got
it was
you.
$700 that I had to pay. But if
Right,
I didn't have insurance, there's places that could do it for maybe $200.
got you,
So it's
got you.
understanding what you have available, you know?
So here you are, a mom, a business owner. Tell me, how did you go through that journey, being a mom, being a business owner, and you know, dealing with health challenges, being in the community? Tell me, did you stop everything to take care of yourself? Just share with us. How did you manage and balance it all?
Sure. I mean, it's very difficult, it was a very sad time. It was a very scary time. And so, yes, things had to pause. Life had to pause because I needed to have surgery. I had a double mastectomy. And when I thought that that was over and that was going to take care of it, I was told that I had to do chemo. And after chemo, I had to do more reconstruction. And after that, I had to do a hysterectomy. So like it didn't stop, for about a year and a half. I was very lucky that my employer, who happened to be my family, understood and gave me
Mhm.
grace and gave me the space to work on the days that I felt good and to rest on the days that I did not feel good. So I was very grateful for that. Um, and I'm beyond blessed to have a partner in my husband that was there for me the entire time, that supported me, that went with me to my treatments, and maybe at times not go with me because he needed to take care of the kids. So I
Mhm.
really had a wonderful life partner that helped me. I had my family, of course, my community, my church, my friends. So I was really blessed to have a really significant um entourage, right? A
Right,
significant
right.
um um tribe, I guess, our support system. And I think often about the days when I would sit in the chemo room for hours, sometimes 10 hours sitting there. And I had family members, that would bring food or that would come and
Oh,
check up on me and that would, bring me a book or whatever. And there were people there that didn't have that. And they sat there the whole 10 hours by themselves. Um, so I don't take that for granted. As I said to you, Gita, I wake up every day with such a sense of gratitude because
mhm.
I realize that I am blessed beyond measure. And I use a lot of my time to ensure that others have access or information, because it's tough out there. Not everybody has advocates, not everybody has a support system. And so because God allowed me to continue the work, I feel compelled to find ways to make it make sense and make it impactful.
Super, super. We're gonna take a short break and we will be right back.
To learn more about what we do, to get involved in our mission to help all of Broward's children learn, grow, and thrive, or to find a program or service for your children, visit us at cscbroward.org. Children's Service Council of Broward County. Our focus is our children.
We are back and we have with us Tamara Beliard, and she's really sharing with us her journey as a mom, as a business owner, as a cancer survivor, and so forth. But Tamara, you just mentioned that you want to ensure others have access and information. And so tell us a little bit about what are some of the initiatives or causes that you are most passionate about.
Sure. So I've realized that health is something that I'm passionate about. Access to health care, equity in healthcare, awareness. As you know, Guithele, I am an accountant. I do not pretend to be anything else than an accountant. So when I say health, what I really mean is just awareness, because I'm in the community, through Island TV's platform, I use all of that to help bring awareness about inequities that exist, or the importance of understanding the family history, the importance of understanding that as Black women, we have the highest mortality rate when it comes to cancer in the United States. And a lot of it is because we wait last minute, because we, culturally, we think about other things. We're like, oh, bon Dieu là, bon Dieu avec, or we think about passing, aloe or
the alternative way of treating oneself.
Correct.
Without understanding you need the scientific
correct. So I use my story to remind people that cancer doesn't discriminate. I remind folks that I was under the guideline, the age guideline, and still it happened to me. And so early detection is important. Understanding that, yes, eating healthy is important. Yes, exercising, living a healthy lifestyle is all important. But sometimes, there are other factors that lead to cancer. And so what can we do to ensure that we're not a statistic? So I work a lot with University of Miami as it relates to producing segments in Haitian Creole with Haitian doctors that come on Island TV, and they do like a 10 to 15 minute segment about a particular cancer that is prevalent in our community. So whether it's lung cancer, which I didn't even realize was very prevalent in the Black and Brown communities, cervical cancer, participating in clinical trials is important, because if we're not participating, the data is not really reflecting us, right? So they're using other data to help guide their medical prognosis on us, or the treatment plan. But the data is not really based on people like us. So participating in clinical trials is really important. So this segment, we call it Be the Best You, because So
I love that.
Be the Best You. That's in partnership with the University of Miami. And as you mentioned recently, with you as well, as part of the committee of the Creole Action Committee under United Way, where we're really trying to bring behavioral health options to the Haitian community in Broward County. As you know, Guithele, Haitians are not always comfortable to talk about mental health. We almost don't really understand it. We're not sure that this is how we want to spend our time, our money, right?
Right.
Because nous tellement gen problème, est-ce que c'est ça pour nous faire is
Exactly. But
we know better now, right? We know that mental health is important. We know that it's critical to take care of ourselves if we need to take care of other people. How can we do that if our mental health is not in check, right? And so this United Way initiative is going to be really instrumental in ensuring that providers in Broward County are equipped to serve the Haitian community. And if they're not equipped, then United Way will help with the training and the resources needed.
Terrific. That's another illness. I guess I want to say medical condition that we do not pay much attention to. And I think a lot of our people, they've gone through many traumas. They've been to a lot of, so it's important. Sometimes people say, well, why am I going to tell somebody my problem? I have the pastor. I can go to the pastor, but the pastor is not a clinical therapist,
That's right.
So
That's right.
you've got to, the schools will provide it if you have a child, and there's so many resources out there. And I am just loving what you're doing with the United Way.
Yeah, thank you. But you too, it's a team effort, So as a leader in the community, you're there too. You bring fresh perspective, you bring experience, you bring expertise. So it's a team effort, I'm happy to have spearheaded it, but I also realize that it's a team effort and we all have to put in the work so that this is a sustainable initiative,
Yes.
that continues
Exactly.
for a generation, not just until we're no longer there.
Exactly. Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Now, often they said, when you have cancer, you cannot deal with a lot of stress. That's all part of taking care of yourself. How do you prioritize self-care and well-being while you're doing all these, as a community leader, as a mom, as a business owner? Tell me, when do you say this is Tamara's time? I don't care what else is going on.
I'm not really good at that. So it's a journey. It's a process. I'm not good at that. I have big dreams, like, not taking meetings after like 6 o'clock. That was my New Year's resolution, was to stop working at 6 so that I could take time for the family and take time for myself. I haven't been very successful at it because things happen and, there's no excuse, but I just haven't been very successful. But I recognize that it's important. So I take pleasure in the little things. Maybe it is on a Sunday that I stay in my PJs all day and stay home, spend time with the family. Days like that give me a huge energy boost, It could be having dinner with girlfriends, and that's a huge energy boost, and that helps a lot. It could be reading a book. So I don't necessarily have a system or a process where I say every Friday night at 6 o'clock is Tamara time. What I do try to do is insert here and there moments that I know that will fuel me, right? Whether, like I said, it's reading a book, which usually it's just a couple chapters, right? Because time, or being with girlfriends, or spending time on Sundays with the family. So it's just little moments, grabbing them where I can.
I think women like us, sometimes it's very difficult because there's just so much to do and there is so much you want to do. But I have to tell you, my aspiration is to be like my sister-in-law, who's also a cancer survivor. 8 o'clock in the evening, no matter what's going on, she does not pick up her phone.
Yeah.
Her husband and her son know how to get in touch with her, so she'll make sure they're okay. But we know, okay, it's 8 o'clock. She's not going to pick up the phone. Let's call her tomorrow. That's so
that's so good.
Discipline. It takes discipline to do that, and she's been doing it for years.
I love it. I mean, it's discipline and it's boundaries, right?
Of course.
I mean, what could possibly be an emergency at night, if it's not a family emergency? And even in corporate America, I see a trend where on signatures, on, executive directors or CEOs, on their signature, they'll say, this is not an emergency, their email signature. This is not an emergency. You know, if it was, I'll call you, but whenever you see this email, you could take care of it, but you know, it's not an emergency. Basically giving, you know, the recipient of the email notice that I'm sending you this email, but you don't feel obliged to respond right away. So I do think we are moving towards a time where we are reminded that boundaries are important.
And that's self-care, self-care, self-care. I repeat that to myself almost every day.
Yeah.
You've touched on a couple of things and how you kind of make sure you're balanced. You know, you spend time with your family, with friends, etc. Can you share with us a memorable moment or a story from your journey? And it could be as any of the roles that you play, something that really stayed with you and impacted your life.
I mean, there's so many, right? Where I paused and maybe reflected on how to move forward. I mean, I guess because we've been talking about cancer for the last few minutes, there was a moment that really stayed with me when I first started losing my hair. I was so uncomfortable. Obviously, it's a life-changing situation, and I would wear wigs, right? I would wear wigs to be out in the public or to be, you know, pick up the kids or be around the kids at school. And I remember one day it was so hot, as you know, South Florida summers can be just
Brutal.
brutal. And I remember going to Starbucks with the girls, a Starbucks drive-through. My girls were young. They were maybe at this point, maybe 5 or 6. And they knew that I was going through my journey and they would see me at home without the wig. And we get to the drive-through and the gentleman at the drive-through says to me, "Wow, you're so beautiful," something like that. And I don't know, because at the time, you know, I was doing chemo. So I don't know if my face gave off the vibe that I was on chemo. You know, you get kind of swollen. And if he was being generous with his comment, I'm not sure what it was. But it definitely empowered me. And when I drove away, I remember telling the girls, they were in the back seat, I said, "Ooh, mommy is so hot. Like, I wish I could just take my wig off." And at that moment, they were like, "But mom, take it off. Take it off and be you." And I took it off, and Guithele, I never put it back on, and I walked around, you know, with the bald head. But the point of the story for me is that I was trying so hard to like fit and not let people see the vulnerable side. But at that moment, my kids, my girls, most importantly, gave me the freedom to be vulnerable, to be myself, and to acknowledge that, yes, maybe I have an illness, but that doesn't change who I am. And the wig does not define me or, you know, make me different or hide or whatever it is. It's okay to be you. And I later, afterwards, I ended up writing 2 children's books.
Wow.
2 picture books to help kids and families discuss cancer in a very kid-friendly but honest way. And that moment really guided how I titled the book. And also there is a scene in the story, in the book, where the kids say, you know, to the main character that's dealing with cancer, "Take off your wig." And so for me, that was a bonding moment with my girls that led to me writing the books, that led to me going on a book tour with the girls. And you fast forward 10 years later, I feel like I've raised 2 really strong, independent women, young girls, women, that are very empathetic, that are aware that people have difficult moments, but not to use their vulnerability to undermine their capacity.
Hmm. So smart, so well said, Tamara. So well said. You know, I think what I'm getting from what you're saying is, despite what you were going through, you were able to be empowered in so many ways. And it's really you probably working with yourself and say, I'm not going to let this beat me. I'm still going to be the best I can. So that's very inspiring. Thank you for sharing that. Any last words for our viewers? It could be about being a Haitian woman. It could be about being a business owner, because all of these things will be celebrated during the month of May. So your last words.
Sure. Well, thank you so much, Guithele. And I think, for me, I do wear the hat or feel the power of being a Black woman, a Haitian woman, an entrepreneur, a mother. And I think for me in my life journey, they've always been so connected. And it's always been for me the story of resilience and realizing that most of the time, unfortunately, people don't expect you to succeed or don't expect you to thrive, because after all, we come from one of the hardest countries, the hardest hit countries in the world, right? We're usually not paid the same as women, paid the same as men. I mean, there's always something that we could sit and feel sorry for ourselves, or say, moun pa vle sa pou mwen anyways, people don't want that or don't expect that, so let me just sit back and enjoy the ride. I choose to think differently. I choose to say, because I'm a woman, because I'm a Black woman, because I'm a Haitian Black woman, because I'm a cancer survivor, because I'm a young woman, all of the odds are that I'm not going to succeed. And because those are the odds, I'm going to do everything that I can to ensure that I will succeed. So I would just say that during the month of May, let's rejoice in everything that is amazing about us as women, as Black women, as Haitian women, as survivors of all of it, right? And use that power towards good, and use that power for impact. I mean, that's what really drives me, is how I can take all of these blessings, because I take it as a blessing that I'm a Black woman, that I'm a Haitian woman, right? And so how do we take all of that and ensure that the legacy is a legacy of impact, and a legacy of strength, and a legacy of courage, and a legacy of beating the odds? So I know that was a lot, but for me, that is how I choose to live my life and choose to the path forward. Because why not? Why not us, right?
Exactly. It's like you feel like because of all these things, you got to try harder.
Yeah. Well, we know we have to try harder. We know that already, right?
Yes. But anyway, my dear, thank you so much
Thank you,
for
Guithele.
sharing
It was a lot
your
of fun.
story, and keep up the good work. I
Thank you.
cannot wait to see what the Creole Initiative Committee will do. And I was, I like I said, this is something we've needed for a while. So thank you for initiating it. And I think we're on the right path with you as the chair. Thanks again.
Thank you, Guithele. This was a lot of fun. I hope to come back soon.
Great. You have a good night. And
Thank
to
you.
our viewers, we will be right back.
So this is one of our willow boxes. This is just filled with some of the things that we had started gathering for her while I was pregnant.
Yep.
There's her little baby book. This is the outfit that she was gonna maybe wear home from the hospital. All of these. This is the blanket that she was in. And these are her little footprints.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
We are back. Tamara Beliard was our guest, and as you could see, her ability to overcome adversity is remarkable. She's really learned to be the best she can despite her experience as a cancer survivor, and she spends a lot of time helping others as well. And I remember my mom used to say, each and every one of us, we're fighting a battle, whether it's health, whether it's financial, and life can be pretty difficult, but we have to always look at the silver lining. And we have the ability to bounce back. So I implore you and I encourage you to really stay positive and don't hesitate to reach out for help if needed. So with that, I want to take this time to wish all the mothers a happy Mother's Day. And to all of you, thank you for joining us this evening. And until next week, have a wonderful evening. Good night.
To learn more about what we do, to get involved in our mission to help all of Broward's children learn, grow, and thrive, or to find a program or service for your children, visit us at cscbroward.org. The Children's Service Council of Broward County. Our focus is our children.